We are indeed very delighted that you could make our time to join us on today's episode of Tax Matters. My name is Olumuyiwa Matuloko. Last episode, we informed you that battens have changed hands at the Federal Inland Revenue Service. That effective Monday, the 9th of April 2012, Mrs. Ifeko Omogu-Okaru completed her tour of duty at the Federal Inland Revenue Service, and that a new man is now in the saddle in the person of Alhaji Kabiru Mashi. We also promised you on that episode that beginning from this episode, we'll begin to share with you in greater details what transpired at various events in the last few weeks. And indeed, those events were numerous. One of those events is the 2012 enlarged management meeting of the Federal Revenue Service, which held on Thursday, the 29th, and Friday, the 30th of March, at which the 2012 corporate plan of the service was discussed and agreed upon. The other event, which we'll be sharing with you, is the official takeoff of the Taxpayer Identification Number Scheme project, which held between Tuesday the 3rd and Thursday the 5th of April 2012. Beginning Thursday the 29th of March through to Friday the 30th of March, board members and top management staff of the Federal Inland Revenue Service gathered together in Abuja for the 2012 corporate plan and enlarged management meeting. Theme was sustaining the transformation agenda through taxation, their own way of supporting the transformation agenda of President Goodluck Jonathan. And to underscore the importance of the enlarged management meeting to various stakeholders, the Federal Minister of Finance was represented by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, while the Senate and the House of Representatives Finance Committees were fully represented, even as other sister organizations like the Federal Road Safety Commission were in attendance. At the time of the enlarged management meeting, Mrs. Omogu-Okaru was still in the saddle, and so she welcomed dignitaries, board and management in this way.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this corporate retreat and enlarged management meeting for 2012. For the benefit of those who are coming for the first time to this event, we typically hold this event once a year. And typically it happens at the end of January, sometimes early February. And the whole purpose of this event is to plan the year ahead, to ensure that we set the right direction and ensure that ultimately all of us, in the spirit of our values, are collectively working together towards achieving the vision for this country. We have traditionally, as part of the reforms, introduced a very strong planning culture, and we're also at this event in a way launching the third round of planning, because we had that 2004 to 2007 plan, we had that 2008 to 2011 plan, and now we have a 2012 to 2015. If some were to say what are one of the secrets of the success behind all that we have done today, without a doubt, we'll say it's having a strong planning and performance management culture.
Something was also said on the importance and centrality of the taxpayer in the scheme of things.
We constantly look at ways to be closer to the taxpayer. When we commenced the reforms, before I came, there was the establishment of the Large Taxpayers Unit. Thereafter, the Large Taxpayers Unit metamorphosed into a Large Taxpayers Department with about 5 Large Taxpayers offices, with a clear focus on the large taxpayers, and even more so, a clear focus on industry segments within the large taxpayer groups. We have now moved beyond that to also create medium taxpayer offices to focus on the group in between, and we've even gone even beyond that to now also focus on the micro and small taxpayers. We also have a focus on individual and enterprise, again because they need a separate focus, particularly those within the FCT, where we have specific roles of Personal Income Tax Administration within the FCT. In fact, the largest department in the service today is a micro and small department. It is in that department we want to perform magic. It is in that department that we are represented in every single state. It's in that department that even within the state, we may even have as many as 15 offices just targeted at this group. Because again, if you step back and look at Nigeria, that is what is driving Nigeria. The small business entrepreneurs, the enterprise businesses, the individuals, the self-employed who are out there trying to make business and trying to ensure we run the economy. And yet, if we look at our tax profile, you'll find that that is the group that has the least contribution to the tax revenue base. And so the focus on micro and small, first of all, is to give it attention, is to give it recognition, is to ensure that we know that it is relevant, is to say that without them, we can't have this country. And it's also ensure that we'll even tailor our policies, our processes, in such a manner that we recognize the peculiarities of this taxpayer segment, so that we are not giving related processes that will benefit large taxpayers to the micro and small, because you cannot put them all on the same pedestal. The message is every single taxpayer is important. We're also going to talk about entrenching taxpayer services in the tax offices, because again, for us as an organization, what we want to position ourselves as is an organization that is there to serve. As our name indicates, we are there to serve. And therefore, every taxpayer that walks in to any of our tax offices should feel that service orientation, should feel that there are taxpayer services which cut across information being provided to the taxpayer, education to the taxpayer, assistance. In fact, for the small and micro, we may need to be assisting them on how, for example, they should do their books. Because really, ultimately, at the end of the day, if you do not have records, then you can't even run your business effectively, not to talk of paying taxes.
There were goodwill messages from the Senate, the Federal House of Representatives, and other organizations in attendance. The Federal Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister for the Economy, Dr. Mrs. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, was represented at the opening ceremony by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Mr. Danladi Kefashi.
Let me begin my remarks today by giving you a brief background as to why the Ministry of Finance views forums of this nature as very important. As you may all know, some of the key priorities of President Goodluck Jonathan's transformation agenda are to diversify the economy and government revenue away from oil dependency, especially in this era of high global economic uncertainty, and to establish an environment that is conducive to private sector investment and job creation. Therefore, the tax system, being the main mechanism through which the government can influence private investment decisions, is at the heart of this administration's reform agenda. And this informs the close attention and dedicated support which the Ministry of Finance and myself, as the coordinating minister for the economy, continue to give to the Federal Inland Revenue Service as the apex revenue generating agency of the federal government, and of course to all other revenue generating agencies. While we have noted and commend the excellent performance of the Inland Revenue Service in the last decade or so, we will urge you to keep up and improve on this performance so you can surpass expectations of government from you. However, after praising you, we expect so much from you. Following from the above, I declare the 2012 corporate retreat an enlarged management meeting of the Federal Inland Revenue Service open.
In the course of the two-day event, presentations were made towards a realistic stock taking and the making of an effective corporate plan going into the future, especially putting together a 2012 to 2015 medium-term plan.
Let's talk about the major achievement in 2011. The group achieved a total tax collection of 4.622 trillion, analyzed into oil revenue of 3 trillion and non-oil revenue of 1.5 trillion. The aggregate of the figures represent, in comparison with the Federal Ministry of Finance or the national target, 127%, and if you are referring to the FRS target, 105%. We need to clap for ourselves here. I continue with the achievements. Recovery of about 6.9 billion local government debts as a result of direct deduction by the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation.
And on tax collection target for the year 2012?
We have a target of 5 trillion, made up of 3.3 trillion and 1.781 for oil and non-oil revenue, respectively.
We are working also like on newspaper houses. When we did a kind of research on the newspaper, we discovered that many of them are not returning their VAT payment. What are we doing? We took some newspapers from certain period, getting all the advert rate. So for full page, for quarter, so we have people that are analyzing it per newspaper house and per every day. So with that, we will confront them that look at from this period to this period, this is the revenue you get from advert, and you collected VAT. This is our VAT expectation.
And this peep into the future.
And there's a new project that we're trying to put in place is VAT automation. Now that project is still at the conception stage. We've been discussing with NIPS. NIPS is a company that has been licensed by the federal government and is partly owned by also central bank and all the banks. And today, with NIPS, every one of us here does not need to go to bank. You don't need to send your driver to bank. You don't need anything. Any payment anywhere on earth, you do it as instantly. So we want to also leverage on that to ensure that when you go to a grocery store or you go to a coffee shop and you buy coffee and they deduct VAT, that VAT is automatically remitted to FRS. Now, with CBN policy of cashless, this thing means everybody must have to pay through some medium. And as you pay, when your bank is going to pay the third party from who you bought the service, is going to pay his own net of tax. The VAT will be remitted to FRS VAT account.
We wish the Federal Inland Revenue Service the best in the year 2012 and beyond. He who plans to succeed.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, waiting be this.
The deduction now for withholding tax.
Withholding guinea. Look, if you not pay me my correct money today, hey, Munu get me half for.
But madam, should be your company paying income tax.
Yes, that one na enough load for me to carry. Why you won't come add join am again?
You see, withholding tax now advance payment for income tax. So when you do some kind job like contract, we go remove small from them when we won't pay you.
And when I go contract am up, no. I bet tell me another.
No. We must pay the money to FIRS within 30 days, and they go give us withholding tax credit note to take show say you don't pay part of your income tax in advance.
So
now to help make the money where you go pay at the end of the year small.
So this withholding tax something, it be like part payment of no.
Exactly, madam.
I beg you. Give me my check.
Remember, come collect your credit note.
Withholding tax, now for we own good. FIRS, it pays to pay your tax.
Welcome back. We are still on to Tax Matters, and we thank you for staying with us thus far. Our second report, or story if you like, is on the official roll-off of the Taxpayer Identification Number Scheme. Between Tuesday the 3rd and Thursday the 5th of April 2012, the Joint Tax Board was engaged in a series of activities to signal the official rollout of the TEAM project. First was a special Joint Tax Board meeting where the JTB members were brought up to speed on the project.
First, let me state on behalf of my team members that it's 3 years this month that effectively we began to work on delivering the TEAM system. This team was constituted on the 20th of April 2009, and we are happy to say that we now have a system that we can use to register taxpayers in Abuja and the pilot locations. The data center that will support the registration of taxpayers in the country is ready at the JTB at Asokoro. The registration system that we're going to use to do the pilot operation is ready at JTB. We have done user acceptance test at JTB. At the other tax offices where we're also going to do pilot, the system is ready, but the user acceptance test and training of the officers of the tax authorities that will be registering taxpayers at the states and the FRS is not yet done. The UAT and the training will be done. We're going to be through the week of 15th of April. So anytime the ending of April, the system will be available for taxpayer registration at the 8 pilot locations. We have built an automated fingerprint identification system at the JTB that we're going to use to ensure that one taxpayer cannot get more than one number across the country. Also, at the 8 locations, we have deployed 2 wide area network links connecting to Abuja. Most of the links have been tested, except in one of the locations where we have not completed testing. Just to mention that each of the locations we have been able to deliver 3 mobile registration equipment that will assist us in capturing taxpayers who do not visit the tax office for registration. Today, we will show this system to the Joint Task Board. This system is ready for operation. We have 2 flavors of this system. One is the offline, which I say you can take to where taxpayers are, maybe corporate organizations, their staff, or take it to hinterland, places that are not accessible, and register persons. The other one is online, where taxpayers will come to your office and you register them. The offline system were brought here, and those are the mobile cases. We are going to register some of you today. We need only 3 things from you. You fill the registration form for individuals. You provide either your international passport or national ID or driver's license so that we can key in your information properly. When we do that, and then you make yourself available for us to capture your biometric features, your biometrics, you sign your signature for us, and they will snap you a passport photograph. We will be able to take this information from you, and then we'll get back to our office, complete this registration process, and we'll be able to give you a GMPC card today that will be a TIN number. And with that number, that card has a microchip, so it can be read on a card reader. And anywhere you are in the country, as long as this system is concerned, if you want to register again, you'll be rejected. Because already on the central system in Abuja, we already have your biometrics, which is unique to only you. And this is why we said we are giving you a unique thing that will be very sure that when you have, you will use it for life. Pay your taxes to respective tax authorities. What is also very important, we must state, is the fact that if we register you, what is important to us is where you reside. So the fact that you are registering here does not stop anything. The chairman of Yobe can register here. In his form, he's going to fill his residence. And the way the system is configured, taxes that he's supposed to pay is supposed to go to where he's resident, because the system is built based on the existing tax laws.
The chairman of the Kwara State Board of Internal Revenue attested to the readiness of the registration exercise in Kwara State.
I think I will attest to the fact that the system in Kwara is perfectly working now. The first time they made a visit was taking well close to an hour to produce the cards. I asked my boys to vacate that place. But I'm happy to report back that the speed is fantastic. Thank you very much.
Mr. Yemi Alade-Shewe made a presentation on the TIN regulations which are before the Federal Minister of Finance for signing. At the end of the special meeting, the Joint Tax Board members took turns in registering for TIN. Tax Matters sought to know from the obviously elated drivers of the TIN project what they feel on the official rollout.
Let's say it's the beginning of fulfillment, not quite the end, because the real fulfillment will be when you can see that all taxpayers nationwide can actually register. But I can tell you that there's clearly hope, that the system will work. There's clearly not just even hope, it has shown the reality that it is possible.
What's the importance of this to the system?
Well, I think first of all is the recognition that all taxpayers will be registered or are now mandated to register under all the various tax laws. And basically that means individuals, corporate organizations, enterprises, non-governmental organizations. And that helps in building a national taxpayer database that all revenue authorities will have access to. What that does also is to strengthen collaboration amongst these revenue authorities, because then they see the benefit of that collaboration. And I think also beyond all that, I do remember at the beginning when I started attending the Joint Tax Board meetings, there was this issue of why are we always coming to Joint Tax Board? What are we doing here? We come, we have a meeting, we leave. I think this project has shown why we need the Joint Tax Board, why collaboration amongst revenue authorities are necessary, and why this just has to be the beginning of several other such collaborations in the future.
Sir, where do we go from here?
Just like the chairman said, the pilot states will be the first set, the 6 pilot states, 1 in each of the geopolitical region, and then from there we spread to other states. And hopefully by November this year we should cover other states.
Is there a deadline for registration or is it a continuing process?
Taxpayer registration is a continual process. We're going to have a deadline for cutover for those who already have 10 from other tax authorities. But for all Nigerians, we encourage them to, as soon as the system is ready, visit the tax office and get their numbers.
And the following day, Wednesday, April 4, 2012, the train moved to the meeting of the Nigerian Governors Forum, where once again an up-to-date on the project was given and many of the governors were registered. And on Thursday, April 5, Mr. President Goodluck Jonathan and Vice President Amadi Sambo joined the train. At that event, Mr. President also formally launched the national tax policy. Why does anyone need TIN?
It is necessary to register for TIN in order to provide adequate data required by law, to create a harmonized taxpayers identification platform for IGR automation and taxpayers clearance certificate issuance. TIN is for taxable entities, individuals and non-individuals.
Where and how does one register for TIN?
Details on biometric data can be captured at State Boards of Internal Revenue and FIRS offices or via the registration link on the Joint Tax Board website.
What are the benefits of TIN?
Creates a foundation for a more effective tax administration system, widens the taxpayers' database, provides a basis for state planning, budgeting and allocation, reduces tax errors such as double counting and evasion, improves compliance by taxpayers and tax authorities.
There you are. Registration for TIN has commenced in 8 pilot locations: Abuja, Abia, Bauchi, Delta, Jigawa, Kwara, and Oyo states. Remember, you should register for TIN only where you reside. TIN is for no other purpose other than tax payment. So, do not go back to your so-called home state to register for TIN. For limited liability companies, you register for TIN in the location closest to your registered office address. You can only register for TIN once. Multiple registration is impossible because biometric is involved. And if you reside outside any of the 8 pilot locations, wait. The TIN registration train will soon bet in your state. Full rollout is very close at hand. We want to thank you for watching today, and we enjoy you to join us next week on this same station for a fresh episode of Tax Matters. Thank you for watching.